Thank you for coming. Okay. Yeah, so before we get started... Okay, I don't need to talk into this because I got the thing. That's right.
Yo.
So before we get started, the talk is about everydays, and I wanted to do a quick disclaimer. Okay, I know, that's super dumb. This is the first talk I've ever given. I've actually never even been to a conference before. Like, this is the first conference I've been to. So, my talk is not cool. I didn't know I was supposed to put, like, funny GIFs in it. And you can see it's kind of like just a bunch of, like, bullet points and, like, text. And, like, I didn't know everybody put, like, a bunch of cool images and stuff. And I kind of hate showing my stuff. So, just... like, these talks in general were probably not a good idea for me. And I don't want this to reflect on Ash. I just brought him up here because I was too much of a pussy to, like, do my own talk myself.
I tucked my shirt in, too. Twins.
So he's up here kind of cleaning up the mess. And then the, like, bathroom emergency thing will be good. So, like, what you could do now, maybe is, like, a better use of your time. I don't know if any of you saw Jonathan Mann yesterday talk about the exact same fucking thing I'm going to talk about, but, like, 1,000 times better. I would recommend just going in the lobby and trying to find a YouTube video of that, because his talk was amazing, and he pretty much covered everything with some, like, awesome emotional stories as well, which I do not have. So, that, bathroom break... I don't know if people are still, like, Snapchat and sexting and stuff. Chipotle a day.
He's there.
Use some else. So just kind of, expanding on that, like, I don't have, like, I realize now everybody has these awesome, like, emotional stories about, like, their artwork, and I don't have that, like... I was not prepared to bring, like, an emotional aspect to this, or, like, a cool, like, backstory of, like, my life.
Christopher Nolan version, right?
My life is pretty, like, boring. It's definitely, like, boring as fuck. I'm not on a mystical quest. Like, that's what it is. I make pictures and, like... I keep it pretty, like, surface in terms of that. Like, it's not, like, any more than that, I don't think. It's just pictures, and I'm probably an asshole. So, I mean, compared to everybody else here, I definitely feel like I'm an asshole. So, kind of, like, introducing, like, the tiny amount of backstory, Ash.
Why the hell am I up here right now?
Because I'm a pussy.
Seriously.
Ash is a designer, graphic designer, director. He's done a bunch of UI stuff for Ender's Game. Do you want to say it?
No, I don't want to talk about myself.
Okay, Ender's Game, Total Recall, bunch of stuff. I'm sure you've seen it. And he does the podcast with Andrew, and they interview a bunch of people, and it's a lot more good. Already done? Is the time? We cut it? Okay, that's fine. Oh, shit. That was only 4 minutes? Kind of thought that was 45 minutes. Okay. So I guess we have more.
Keep going.
Okay.
This mic's way better.
So I'm a graphic designer. I release, like, VJ clips on... Creative Commons, and so people can go and download these, like, VJ clips and use them for whatever, and they can download the project files. And I've done some concert visuals for some people, and, put some short films out there, and they were rejected at most festivals, but I guess neither here nor there. And then I've also been doing an everyday project for the last 7 years. And then, too much of a pussy to give the talk, I guess we covered that in fairly no uncertain terms. So then this is a
Prepare yourself.
Yeah, I don't.
Earmuffs.
This is
You can't
because
handle it.
we're in Toronto, so I'm just sorry for this. Thank you. Sorry. I'm sorry for that. Sorry, Sean. So yeah, every day's that's the project.
When did you get into this stuff?
It was 7 years ago. And
7 years every day.
Yep, I haven't missed a day in 7 years. And throughout that time, I've been doing different stuff. Each year, I sort of pick a different focus on what to sort of focus on. 1 year, I did drawing. The first year was drawing. I saw an awesome artist named Tom Judd who did sketch a day in a sketchbook, and that's what gave me the idea for it. And so I started out drawing the first year, and then I kind of realized it was a good way to sort of learn something and stick with it. And then I did Cinema 4D for a couple years. I had always wanted to learn a 3D package.
Why'd you pick cinema?
I had heard that it had a pretty good learning curve in terms of just being able to pick it up. So then I did Illustrator for a while, and I did digital photography for a while, and then I kind of came back to cinema, and I've been trying to focus on some different things there. So these are just some examples of the.
Are there any ones in particular that you like more than the others?
These are probably the ones that I like more than the others.
Okay. You didn't want to show those?
I didn't want to show.
Okay.
Other ones. I mean, most of them are crap because it's you only have a couple hours, so it's at the end of the day, it's not going to be that great. But
Not so fast.
What?
Not so fast.
Okay. Let me guess. Oh Jesus.
We're so pro. Can you feel it?
Slow it down.
My voice is so fucked. My cowboy bar. God, it's so loud.
Yeah, so here's more pictures.
What's this worm thing about?
Just a worm thing. I don't know. It's not. Again, that's where it's diving deeper into these. It's just a worm thing. It's just freaking weird cube head. Other crap. I don't know. That's just there's no story behind it.
Damn you.
More stuff.
So the process when you engage in doing these things, do you have a set schedule? Is it something that at 6 in the morning? Because I know you get up early as hell before the baby gets up. Do you get going on it or what?
I usually don't start the everydays. Then I usually start other projects. Just because everydays will kind of, at least for me, take as much time as I have. So if I have, 3 hours, I'll putz at it. So I usually try and do it more towards the end of the day, unless today, I don't know what I'm doing later. So it's then I try and get it out of the way in the morning. But otherwise, I feel it can consume as much time as you have, just dicking with it. So I kind of usually try and put it more towards the end of the day.
He's doing them in his hotel room right now. In his boxers. Visualize it, people.
Not sure about that. Yeah, so here's some more crap.
Oh, yeah. How many are you at now?
I am at about 2,900.
Jeez. You haven't missed a day?
No.
How the heck?
Missed a day. I'm surprised that I haven't just forgot it one day. I mean, I have an alarm on my phone, but I am surprised that I
You have
haven't
an everyday alarm?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't just forgot it.
Is your wife okay with this everyday thing?
Oh, yeah. I mean, she's super supportive. It's definitely, like, my whole family is very, very supportive. Like, she, understands that, it's a project that I need to do for whatever reason.
How influential has this been for you?
I would say it's been very influential. I mean, it's just, I feel like that really helped me, get better at Cinema 4D. I mean, and learn Cinema 4D from scratch. I mean, you can go on and see the first day I, booted up. Probably would have been a good picture to fucking put in, but you can see the first picture if you go to the website of.
Try and find it.
What, first booting up Cinema 4D, you'd be like, oh, it's cool, you can do like reflections and that, and, it's definitely helped me a ton, and I feel like anything I want to learn, I could sort of apply this method to, learning that, so I think it's been good there.
Good for progression. Every day, it's progressing every day.
Yeah. And even for like bigger projects too. So that kind of goes into this. Why do it every day? Get better at doing crap. You can kind of quickly sketch out ideas. It's a way to sort of, if you just have, maybe a little bit of an idea where you can get it to a point where you spend an hour at it, and then, maybe you see that it's not that great of an idea. Like, I feel like a lot of times people build things up in their head in terms of like, oh, this is this great idea, and they've got it in their head. But then as soon as you get it out, on paper, you realize it's like, okay, well, that didn't work. That's just, that's not going to work. So I think it's a good way to sort of like get all those shitty ideas like out of your head, and so you can, focus on the good ones.
Do you feel it's made you faster in the way that you create?
Yeah, I mean, if you, doing stuff every day, you're going to get faster because it's just more time that you're, like, practicing. And I feel like it helps you sort of with all aspects of creating a piece. From starting, I feel like, that's a huge problem for most people, is just sitting down at that blank canvas or whatever. But if you have to do that every day, like, there's no choice. You get better at it, and it doesn't seem as scary until, it's just kind of like, okay, whatever, I have to start. So it definitely helps with that. And I think it also helps with, like, bigger projects, too. I think a lot of people are sort of like, oh, I don't want to do an everyday because I like, putting more time into things, and I don't want to release something that was, that I just put a little bit of time in. But I think it can also help you with bigger projects. A lot of the everydays that I put out there are actually, like, models for stuff that are bigger projects. And this is just kind of a way to, like, sort of document the, like, process of it. I'm working on a short film, and a lot of the stuff over the last year was, pieces you'll see in that short film of little assets that I build and stuff like that. And then I feel like the most productive part of a project is the beginning. I'm not really sure if that's actually true, but it feels like in the beginning you're kind of like, you get to a point where you're just spinning your wheels after so much time, and if you're, like, starting out every single day, you get that, like, good boost of whatever. I don't even know. Like, that's
super juice.
I don't know where I was going.
Super juice.
Super juice is probably what it's called. Yeah, I didn't.
He's being shy about the super juice term.
Super juice. So what type of projects could you do for this? Wow.
Speak slow.
It's a lot of time. So what type of projects could you do?
This is a good technique.
For this?
Repeat it one more time, slower.
Like, freaking G-Monk had 500 slides. I have 28. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
I didn't know that's what you did. Even you had, like, a fucking shit ton of slides.
No, I had like 20.
No, you didn't. You had way more than that.
I had like 50.
Yeah, okay. That's a jump already. It's okay.
Damn it.
That's the other thing. Like, people, just fucking shout out questions.
The little boy
like,
in front here.
This is like, just talk and, like, shout out things. I don't give a shit. Okay.
Like those are some big names that you work for. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, so a lot of the projects, like right now I'm doing a thing for Zed. A lot of them are through, some companies in LA. They do, concert visuals for these people.
How do you get connected to them?
What companies?
Possible, Production Club, done some stuff for comics. So those companies,
They see your reel and get inspired to reach
yeah,
out to
people
you.
just reach out from the clips, and a lot of like individual artists will reach out looking for stuff from the clips as well. So that's kind of how that stuff came about from releasing those VJ clips. And so those projects are usually a couple weeks to like a month working on stuff. The Zed stuff, because the album kind of got delayed, I've been working on that for quite a while, and I think I'm the only one doing it, so it'll be, quite a bit bigger project than I've ever done. But yeah, some of them are like projection mapping. Most of them now are not really projection mapping. They're just regular like concert visuals, but they're very similar to the like VJ clips. Obviously, more branded to the like artists themselves, but that's pretty much the like.
What did the Katy Perry stuff look like?
The Katy Perry stuff, it was for the...
He turns away. The body language, you read it? Oh,
what?
God.
Well, it's Katy Perry. I mean, it's whatever. It is what it is. It's, what did it look like? There was stuff, it was for the Billboard Music Awards in 2013. It was...
Describe it.
I think there was some, like
Frame by
ripped
frame.
cloth. It was right after that Roar song came out. I think there was like a thing for like Roar, like ripped cloths, like Roar thing. Honestly, I don't remember. It was...
You get it scrubbed from your head. Your memory? You get scrubbed.
Yeah, no, they're fun to work on because it's kind of like whatever. I mean, it is what it is. It's not frickin' Citizen Kane. It's frickin' Katy Perry visuals. But at the end of the day, I mean, it's paying the fucking bills and it's whatever. You gotta try and make it as cool as you can. And it's stir up and left shark and crap and I don't know. Whatever. Like it's just kind of like popcorn crap for people to like, oh, it's cool. Most of the people don't give a shit. It's like out of focus most of the time. It's been like, days on something and it's just cut because they were showing it, filming it. They didn't even like do it. It's like, okay, whatever. I'm not sure why I give a shit about that. But I mean, I don't know, it's fun. It's definitely fun. So yeah, shout out questions. What type of projects? Yeah, any type of projects. Really anything that I think, what to me helps is if you can have a very quantifiable daily deliverable, something where you can very easily determine, yes, I did it, or no, I did not do it. I think when you have something that's sort of like fuzzy, like, I'm going to kind of like work on my book a little for like, it's kind of like...
Sounds like me.
No, it's just,
How
it makes
dare
it
you.
very easy to be like, oh, I wrote 2 words, I did it for the day, it was good. So,
It's true. It's quantifiable.
well, it's quantifiable, but I feel like if it's more like, okay, I'm writing 5 pages a day, or I'm writing this or that, like it makes it a lot easier to like stick with it and like I don't know, stick with it and make actual progress instead of, before I started it, like probably 3 or 4 months before that, I was like, oh, I'm just going to like, do a sketch a day like that other guy. That's how, the whole thing started. And, if I didn't have time, I was like, I'm going to do something. And it's like, okay, well, I didn't fucking learn anything or get anything from that, so that really shouldn't count. And I mean, some days are obviously, you don't get as much out of. I mean, some days are just about keeping the momentum of the project going itself, but you obviously want to have more days where you're actually sitting down fucking learning something, or you're just wasting your own time.
When do you define those? Do you know the moment that you're actually learning something? Is it something that you saw that influenced you and you're trying to discover how it's made?
Well, I mean, yeah, I think anytime you're sitting down and really trying, then, I mean, you're learning something, whether you're just getting a little better at, comping stuff together, or it's tiny things. It's very... There's not a lot of days where I'm like, oh man, I learned this huge thing. It's like tiny fucking like, oh, that's what that setting does. Like but those things, when you multiply them over, a huge amount of days, they add up to like, oh, okay, I learned kind of like how to do X particles, or I learned how to do, this or that. So it kind of like, it's very small, and I think sometimes that can be frustrating because you don't see like a huge amount of progress because you're not like, I'm gonna pull a fucking all-nighter and I'm gonna fucking learn everything. Like, it's just
That's how it works too. It's just one all-nighter and then you learn everything. He goes to sleep at like 5 o'clock in the afternoon. You would never know.
And that, so I think, yeah, that sort of with bigger projects, those can be worked on as long as you, like a book, you can sort of break it down into like very distinct, quantifiable pieces that like you're doing. I think not biting off too much more than you could chew, making something that you could do in 15 minutes if necessary is very helpful as well, because there are days. The day my daughter was born, it's 4 o'clock in the morning, and it's like, okay, like, we're about to go to the hospital. I need to do my fucking everyday. Can you wait?
Hold the show, everybody.
Can you wait 5 minutes? Suck the baby back in.
The water broke.
I got to do some fucking Cinema 4D bullshit.
You got the laptop out. Keep breathing.
So it's kind of like, I would have missed it that day if it was like, oh, I've got to like do some crazy process and it takes 2 hours minimum. Okay, Jesus. It takes 2 hours minimum.
Gotta be careful with that. You got superhero strength.
I know, I'm like freaking like weird. So I think if you have something that can be done very quickly if you need it, because I mean, life happens. Everybody has stuff where it's like, oh, shitty day, or I'm sick, or this or that. So it's like, if you could just, something you can phone in, and it's not something that has, a huge amount of moving pieces. I think that's the other thing, is something that you have complete control over yourself. Something that's not dependent on other people or dependent on, like, outside factors that would, like, stop you in terms of, like, I'm going to take a picture of every, like, full moon or something. That's a very stupid example, but, like, I'm going to, like, something that's, like, outside of your control where it's like, oh, I didn't do it, so I'm not doing it today because there's no full moon. Or, again, that's a very stupid example. But, like, having something where you can just have complete control over yourself, you're not relying on anybody, you're not relying on anything, so if you fuck up, that's on you. There's no excuses.
So it's important to set up a structure so that you can continue, right? The environment, is it workspace or some kind of consistency?
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't necessarily need to be that. I mean, I've done every day's camping on a frickin', in the middle of the woods on a wooden bench, like, whatever. I mean, it doesn't really matter as long as you have, you got to think ahead for those days. Like, okay, I got to pack a laptop, whatever. When am I going to do it? But, I mean, it doesn't really matter where you do it or anything like that. And it doesn't really matter when you do it. It's just that you, every day, sort of like think, like, okay, what does my day look like today? When am I going to do that? So you got to kind of think ahead a little bit in terms of that.
I just got a vision of your friends, like rustic dudes, camping and around the fire.
Yeah, on the computer. Shut the fuck up, guys. Shut the
No
fuck
Wi-Fi.
up. Fucking hyper nerd. Yeah, that's fairly accurate. Yeah, that's actually fairly accurate. So
This trackpad. No.
Yeah.
Awesome. That's cool. And you did one on the day that your child was born, too.
Yeah, I mean, again,
fucking nuts.
should have fucking put that in there. And
I should have asked for it.
Shit, that's stupid. So, yeah, it
Think
was
she'll be
5
mad.
minutes, and it was just like a freaking, like, ball. I, like, pulled some, like, just took a, like, spear and just pulled some arms out of it and, like, a head, and I was like, that's a baby. And like, okay, let's go. Because, it was 5 minutes, and it was like, she's obviously been in labor for a while. It's like, we're going to the fucking hospital. Like, this is not something I'm going to sit and, just let me render her for a little longer. So, oh yeah, this is a video. Okay. This is like a video going through. Occasionally I will do like a screen record of an everyday, just kind of going through the whole process start to finish so people can kind of see.
Turn it up and feel it in your face.
This is 2 hours.
Hold on, little
3
child
good
up there.
questions. Liking it.
Is that the soundtrack that you hear in your head when you're doing these things?
No, I used to listen to a
Always
lot
playing
more
in
like
his head.
fucking like crazy Venetian snares, like fucking tripped out shit like that. But it's kind of, you get old and it's kind of like my neck hurts.
Are you into Frank Sinatra now?
My neck hurts and my hip hurts. What's up?
It's Frank Sinatra then.
Nah, actually, this is more like rap now. But.
Three questions.
First question is, you create all this work and you give it away.
Yeah.
So, and a lot of movie clips and motion pieces as well that people use and people are inspired by. Can you talk about why you do that?
Yeah, so giving the stuff away, I mean, it's definitely helped me in terms of getting, you know.
You can show us.
No, that's different.
No, okay, sorry.
In terms of, you know, getting exposure for stuff, and I think it's also kind of, you know, I've learned so much from tutorials that other people put out there for free. I mean, so many people put out tutorials for free, and it's like that to me is much more valuable than this. I mean, that's, you know, teaching you something versus I'm just giving you something. If you can use it for a certain project, great, but if not, whereas these tutorials, I mean, to me that's invaluable because that's teaching you like stuff that you can apply to whatever, and they're just, you know, giving that away for free. So it's like, I just, you know, don't feel, I don't know, it's not any good to me. I don't VJ myself, so it's like I really enjoy making these clips, and I was making these clips long before I was releasing them, and then, you know, it kind of was like, oh, why don't, you know, I release these, maybe if somebody can get some use from them, great, and it, you know, it's a way as well with like releasing the project files to just kind of like move on, that's done, that's out there, anybody can like take it and do whatever they want from it, so I'm not going to like go back to that. It's a way to just like draw a line in the sand, and it's like, okay, that's kind of everybody's. And when I see the clips or when I see stuff, it honestly doesn't even feel like my stuff. It just feels like the clips are like their own thing, where it's like, oh, that's the thing, like that's not, it doesn't feel like it's like that's my thing. Like it feels like the clips are its own like fucking beast monster. I don't know, that's again stupid.
What was the other question?
2 more.
Well, let's repeat it too, so everybody can hear it.
Okay.
You had something on the left that was some sort of looks, some sort of like magic bullet looks or some grading tool that you were using?
Yeah, there's 2. The question was that there was like a plug-in or something for Photoshop that I was using. There's 2 things, and I just found out about this. Google Nick Collection. I'd never heard it. Nick Collection. Look that up. It's really awesome. It's got a bunch of. It's kind of like a Lightroom plugin for Photoshop, and it's got a bunch of like presets and a bunch of settings, and you know it can do curves and add grain and you know a bunch of stuff. And it's a little more. You don't have like a ton of like super fine control over certain things, but overall, I mean, it for projects like this where it's like, you know, trying to get something out really quick, it's super helpful to have like a bunch of, you know, presets, and you can, you know, set up presets for a bunch of like basically filters so that you can apply a bunch of effects at once to like your pictures and stuff like that. The other one that basically does the same thing is, a lot of people probably heard of Magic Bullet Looks, has a plugin for Photoshop that, you know, you can do all the stuff that you could do in After Effects. And it's basically the same thing in terms of setting up. You could set up presets for basically filters that are, you know, like more or less Instagram style, like filters and stuff like that. And then you can, you know, tweak them. Obviously, Instagram you can't tweak or whatever, but so yeah, that's what those 2 plugins are.
Yeah, the third question is, there's probably a lot of people here that are using Cinema 4D. Can you talk about Octane and how that's changed your work?
Yeah, Octane. Oh yeah, asking about Octane and Cinema 4D. It's good. Yeah, Octane is super awesome. Cannot recommend that more to like everybody. It is a great plugin. It uses GPUs, so that's kind of the new version coming out. I think at the end of the year is going to be using. I think it will be using the CPU and it will be using both kind of GPUs. Right now, it just uses NVIDIA cards. So a lot of people with like the new Macs, unfortunately, I think there's some workarounds where you can get like a crazy ass like rig with like a bunch of video cards and stuff. I don't know. I have a Windows box. But yeah, it's nice because it scales up with how many video cards you are. So if you throw like a bunch of video cards in, you know, it's going to be 4 times faster.
Can you describe your setup? computer that you have, kind of?
Yeah, I've got 2 computers, so that, while one is rendering, I can kind of hop on the other one. They're both Windows boxes. They both have 3 GTX 780 Ti video cards in them, and that's what does the majority of the rendering for Octane. Yeah, and those are both at home, so I work out of my house, so that's pretty much the setup.
How important is the tool that you have in order to help you get the outcome? Do you care if you didn't have those? If I came to your house and took those to my house,
I'd be bitchy.
Yeah?
I'd definitely be bitchy, and I'd be whiny. But I feel like a lot of people use that as an excuse, and I feel like that's a huge cop-out. There's always going to be better hardware. I mean, I could go get better video cards, and I feel like that's a huge, huge fucking cop-out to, like, I don't have this software. I don't have this plugin.
That's how they sound.
Well, it's just kind of like, you can't, there's always going to be better hardware. I mean, the hardware depreciates so quickly, and it's like the cards that I have are worth half as much as I paid for them a year ago. So it's kind of like, you can't keep up with it. You got to just, buy something and start working. And the most popular short film that I ever made was 10 years ago, and it was on I don't even know, like probably a quad-core Pentium 4 or whatever. And it didn't have Octane. It was on release 10 of Cinema 4D. It's like the ideas matter so much more. Nobody like looks at a film and it's like, oh, that was so fucking awesome because of the anti-aliasing. Nobody gives a fuck about
Wait,
that.
I say that.
They give a fuck about the ideas in the film. So it's kind of like...
Who likes that?
Well, I mean, yeah, the renderer can help, but it's sort of like you can do awesome stuff in any renderer. I mean, I've seen amazing things in every renderer. It's just, what you feel comfortable with and what works for your style of working. But I definitely cannot stress strongly enough not to get hung up on like, I don't have this software, I don't have this thing, because there's always going to be software out there that you don't know, you don't have. And that's also a trap I feel like sometimes people fall into, is learning new software and just, there's always going to be more software, but at some point I feel like you need to just step back and be like, okay, now I need to fucking make something. Like, I've spent enough time learning and watching tutorials, now I need to like actually take that and make something. And I think that sometimes watching tutorials can almost be a cop-out as well to like doing work, because it's sort of like...
It is kind of work.
It's work, but in a way it's sort of like... In some ways, it's easier. It's a little more passive than being like, okay, I'm going to put my balls out there and fucking, like, put something down on paper today.
You don't have balls, though.
Well, that's, put your vagina out. That doesn't really make sense. That's, you kind of set me up for that. But.
Maybe ovaries. All right.
So, why make the everydays public? When I first started, before I officially started the project, when I was just doing the sketches, I wouldn't make them public. I would just, sketched in a book. So, making it public holds you a little more accountable in terms of, like, not doing it. You feel like a douchebag. It's like, okay, especially if you tell everybody. I would also recommend telling all your friends and everybody that you're going to do this, because then you'll really feel like a douchebag if you fail. If you really be like, I'm doing this, dude. You don't even know. I'm gonna fucking do all these everydays, whatever. And then, if you don't do it 3 days later, it's kind of like, okay, bro, you said you're doing it. You can't have a douche, Lord. So I would definitely recommend that, making that public. I think it also helps you get better at releasing work. I think actually that was a great quote from Pixar about we never finish films, we just release them. And it's like, yeah, I mean, anything you're working on, it's like, there's always... And that's why I feel like a lot of, I'm not happy with a lot of the everydays, because it's like, I know that it's like, if I just hit 15 more minutes, it's like, and that's what it is with everything. And you're going to experience that every single day, but you have to release work, or nobody sees it. So it's kind of like, I don't know, you just have to fucking
Do you feel like you have people behind you waiting for it, or relying on you, or seeing, the work every day?
Say it again?
Do you feel like you have people waiting on you, like public or people watching you now at this point?
Well, I feel like you have, yeah. I mean, I've always felt that because it was like, yeah. I mean, it's everybody's, has one friend who gives a shit about what you're doing at least.
Yeah.
So it's like, I mean, somebody's out there to like, to see your work, and I mean, it's not really about that, but that's just kind of public shaming yourself. I feel like helps. So like,
I get it. It's morbid, but it works, right?
I guess it works. So I think putting something out there also helps determine a very finite, if I could stress one thing about this is the more quantifiable you make this, the more like, okay, this is what I'm going to do it, to the point of even maybe writing it down. So that's I feel like squishiness is what like, kind of because of this happened. Like that's what's like stops people from doing that. And once you lose momentum, it's a bitch to get it back. So I feel like keeping the momentum of the project going, making it as like cut and dry as possible, helps. So putting it out there obviously will help you, like after you post it on Instagram, it's fucking done. Like there's no, okay, let me go back and change the color. Like that's done. So I think that helps, yeah. So pitfalls to avoid. Again, don't pick something too ambitious. Plan ahead. I think setting a very clear start and end date. Like, I don't, say I'm going to do this forever, whatever. I break it down into like years in terms of like this year, this is what I'm going to try and do. So I have a very finite start and end date. I feel like psychologically that's just a little easier than like, this is forever now, I'm doing this. Like if you just say like, I'm going to do this for like, whatever, a month or, a year, this or that, then I think that really helps you. And then, after you do it, you'll have hopefully the momentum, and that'll kind of, keep you going and move on to something else and kind of see what you need. Stopping completely if you miss a day. I think that's another thing that it's kind of like what you did today or what you did yesterday, if you missed yesterday, that doesn't fucking matter. Like if I miss tomorrow, it's not going to be like, oh my God, I fucking missed. It's one day. But at the same time, it's like you need to fucking like what you do today matters. What you did or did not do yesterday, that doesn't matter. That's done. That's gone. But what you do today matters. So letting that stop you, I feel like, is a big pitfall that I've seen people fall into when they try and start these. And then I guess telling your inner critic to fuck off is good. Time management tricks. A lot of people ask me. This is really dumb. Like a lot of
number 3 is.
I feel like
just
I've
so
got like
cold.
Tourette's kind of. So it's just like it's like a weird like form of Tourette's or something. So, but I mean, a lot of people.
This is real shit, people. Don't laugh. Take it seriously.
A lot of people like, ask time management tricks. How do you find time to do it? And I think the biggest thing, besides the whole piss on a dog and stuff, is to say no to things. And it's hard, but, I say no to a lot of projects. And I think every time you're saying no to something, you're saying yes to something. I feel like people have a hard time saying no because, they feel that they're rejecting that person or they're that they're saying no. But every time you say yes to something, you're saying no to something else. So every time you say, yeah, I'll, do your website, or yeah, I'll blah, 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 or yeah, or yeah, I'll work on this, you're saying no to doing it every day. You're saying no to doing your book. You're saying no to doing your blah, blah, blah. So you just have to, make it a priority. There is no secret. You just have to, it has to be that much of a priority to you that you just say, fuck it, I'm doing it. I'm pissing on a dog.
When do you decide? Not the piss on the dog. When do you decide, I'm going to say no to this person? Is it, outside of paying the bills, after you've paid the bills, is that when you start saying no and you're just on your own thing? Or
yeah.
Do you have a set of priorities kind of?
Well, even to a large extent with paying the bills, I mean, don't pay your bills. Definitely pay your bills. But I'm saying structuring things so that you don't have to take on a huge amount of freelance, I think, is another big thing. I mean, I live in Wisconsin. It's boring as hell, but it's also cheap as hell. So it's kind of...
So we should all move there.
I would not recommend moving to Wisconsin. That was not like an endorsement to move to Wisconsin. It's fucking terrible. Don't take it as that. Definitely not. But it is cheap, so that does, sort of afford me a certain, I don't have to take on,
lifestyle.
A super huge, a certain amount of thing. But in terms of what to say no to, it's just... that's, kind of up to you in terms of, if something huge came along, then it'd be like, okay, fuck these every day I'm doing that. I don't there's no, right or wrong answer for that. It's case-by-case basis.
Talk about your inspirations or influences, what you're looking at every day, like references.
That's funny that you would ask what my inspirations are. So I would definitely recommend the question was, what are my inspirations?
Asked by G-Monk.
I asked by G-Monk, and the answer is G-Monk. He was talking about, no, I'm dead serious. He was talking about his Pinterest account, which I pretty much rape the shit out of every day. So, I mean, that's... Pinterest, Tumblr, Behance, I mean, these guys, that's, huge influences. I've looked at your freaking work and just, whatever.
That's how I do my work, too. Big, giant crown.
So there's, so many, just follow his Pinterest account, you'll be fine. So War of Art is a hugely influential book that I read a long time ago, and I hate books. Never read books. This is the only book I've read in I don't even know, 10 or 12 years. Okay, hate books. But this book is great.
There's another one right after that called Turning Pro.
Yeah, and you've recommended this stuff
pretty good.
Before. Yeah, it's very short. It's for people like me who are probably mostly illiterate, and it cuts through a lot of the bullshit excuses that we tell ourselves and that we make up to not just sit the fuck down and do our work. And I don't know, it really helped. It helped click something inside of me in terms of seeing okay, wow, there is this invisible force that's trying to get me to not fucking do what I should be doing.
He personifies procrastination so that you can identify it within yourself.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's a really good book. I would definitely recommend that.
But they're for assholes, so.
What's up? Well, not that book, I guess. So I just want to, that's pretty much it. Thank you guys for, listening to me. Thanks, John. I don't know if there's questions or we're pretty much done here.
Yeah, I got a question.
Yeah.
It's more about style. I know in your podcast, Ash, you talk about doing more work and how you still haven't found your style, but or maybe you are feeling like you're finding your style, but for people having done so much work, you feel like your style is going where you expected it to be, or is it constantly developing and changing? Or?
Me?
Yeah.
I don't know. It kind of...
Repeat the question.
Asking about kind of whether my style is where I want it to be or changing or that. I honestly don't think about that so much. I look back at things and it's kind of I see patterns, but those are more unconscious in terms of it's not oh, I'm going to do this for the next blah, blah, blah. It's more unconscious and sort of a retrospective thing in terms looking back and being oh, I've been doing a lot of stuff with glass. Oh, I've been doing more, I feel with landscapes and kind of semi-70s looking things now. So it's more of a backwards looking thing where I see okay, this is kind of what I've been feeling lately, not as much of a...
Your intention is just to keep going.
Yeah, the intention is just what strikes my fancy that day. And I see that I get sick of things and it's kind of okay, it feels like you're repeating yourself a lot. It feels like I'm putting out the same fucking bullshit every day. But it's slowly changing. So it kind of like, that's another good thing about Everydays is it will help you like get out of that. Because if you keep doing it every fucking day, the same thing, like you'll get bored of it a lot quicker, and it'll be like, okay, let me move on to something else. So I think that's another way that it kind of helps.
Any more questions?
If I could take you back to instrumental video 9, like you remember that project?
Yep.
That's the first time I was introduced to you. I mean, you have a lot of great work, but since that was the first time I introduced you, I'm just curious, like, doing a project like that, one, like, was the music the inspiration for the piece? Did you build the piece? Like where did it come from? And the inspiration to come up with the creative portion?
Those projects, he's talking about instrumental video 9. It's like a music video I did, kind of these like robots playing music a couple years ago. And those projects are kind of part of a larger sort of video thesis thing that I've been working on for over 10 years in terms of, they're called instrumental videos that I've
Air quotes?
sort of, yeah, I mean air quotes. Okay. But they're... So that's kind of a project where everything's very synced up. In terms of the music and the video, I did the music in that myself. So it's a very back and forth. Like a lot of times with those type of projects, model sort of an instrument, and then I'll make a sound to it, and then I'll take all of those sounds that I made and sequence out a piece of music, and then I'll take that piece of music back into Cinema 4D and then sync up all of the like things. So it's a very back and forth process in terms of like, at certain points in it, the sound is driving it, and then at certain points in it, the video is driving, like, the look of what you hear. So and that's one of the reasons it's been hard for me to sort of, like, work with other people on those projects, is because it is so, like, super back and forth. But, yeah, that's
One more question? Yeah. Okay, one more question.
Okay, well, that's...
Dang.
In a second.
Apart from sponsored visuals, is there any other work that you do to pay the bills?
Up until, question about paying the bills. Actually, up until last summer, I had a full-time job for the last 10 years. I worked in web
Hooters.
design. I worked in web design
Lies.
at a company in Wisconsin, just doing super fucking like boring ass corporate sites, most boring, shitty, fucking just terrible sites. But it's like it afforded me time to like work on this other stuff and pay the bills, and so that's the concert visuals is pretty much mostly the like extent of the like freelance I've done or freelance I'm doing since then.
Awesome.
Coolness.
That's it. Why are you called Beeple?
It's a little
Damn
like
you.
stuffed animal from the 80s. You can buy them online, buy them on eBay, and they kind of like beep and shit. Like, so
There you go. It's very
cool.
thoughtful.
Thank you.